Sometimes people say, I cannot stop thinking. But what if your life depended on it? What if you really, really, really wanted to stop thinking and be utterly clear and present for 10 seconds, or you would die? Where no thought is allowed, all things are ignored. All points of view are ignored. There's only the I am. There's only the presence itself. If you had to, could you be aware of that innermost sense of divinity, where there is this sense of I, just that, shining, pure, before any modifications are made, before any alterations, before any suggestions or assumptions? Could you rest purely in the I? If you had to. Could you break the continuity of mind just for a few seconds if you really, really had to? And if you could, that means you can. This applies to anything. If you could do it, if you had to, it means you can do it. So then practice that for a few seconds, intensely, several times a day. Break through the habit of continuity, the habit of linearity, the habit of mind, the habit of description. Who are you without describing anything? And if you cannot be comfortable with that, then how can you be comfortable with anything else? We cannot be comfortable with ourselves as we are, without any modification or addition or filter or conclusion or description. Then of course we're going to be restless also when we are using the mind, also when we are engaged in action. We're going to be seeking experiences because we have learned to run away from what we are. We have not sufficiently developed the capacity to be as we are. No additions, no assumptions, just conclusionless, meaning-free isness, which again is the gateway to something so endless and vast that it's your direct connection with Source. Is already here. It's the I from where you see, the I from where you hear, the I from where you think. But it's before the thinker, prior to, more original than, more already here. Thoughts you have to add every single day. It's a job. You have to continue to add thoughts to what is, to what is, to what you is. That isness, that I am, is your gateway to the direct recognition, the realization, the deepening, the purification into Source, becoming transparent as an individuated entity to that Source which transcends individuation, which is the oneness beneath all things. If you cannot cut through the bullshit of mind at any given moment with great intensity and joy and surrender, then how will you really be successful at anything else? The only way to be successful at anything else, if you cannot do this, if you can't reel back the mind and create an authentic, original opening into clouds of the continuity of thought projections, and rest in the essential formless nature of what is. Without that capacity to rest as you are, profoundly awaken, rest and surrender into what is, and be with what is, and to open that gateway more and more, open that door a little bit more every day, open into that mystery, the direct realization of Source within as the I before mind. The only way you can be successful without that is through strategy, through having to learn a certain thing, how it works, learn to predict it, and then navigate around those predictions. But when it comes to original success, success that is derived from an original state, that is sourceful in that way, that is intuitive, that is spontaneous, that is intelligent, you have to be able to give up the 3D world of descriptions and linearity and rest ever deeper in the mystery of I do not know, except that I know. And to always rejuvenate yourself, recreate yourself. Allow Source to recreate yourself from that space where you come undone, where you come naked in the eye of awareness, and that which sees, no matter how uncomfortable it might be to the mind, no matter how much it may squeal, try to strategize its way out of being into doing. There's a certain threshold of discomfort that needs to be rested with until it breaks free, until it disappears and dissolves, at which point isness becomes reliably enjoyable. But the portion of mind that has derived its sense of well-being and pleasure and joy from external circumstances, external objects, descriptions, interactions, relationships, will not like this because it's like a death. It doesn't want that. It wants to continue itself. You have to understand the only way for an illusion to continue itself is to generate the illusion of continuity about what it's projecting. If something is fundamentally untrue, but you think it is true, the only way the illusion can sustain itself is by projecting some form of continuity about its own existence. Meaning, it needs to be continuous in its operational aspects. So when you penetrate, when you pierce the veil of linear thinking, when you stop it over and over again, it's like cutting through the string that connects the pearls around your neck. It's a necklace. When you cut through that thread, all the pearls will fall off that continuity. It's no longer continuous. You've broken the circle. It's no longer useful as a necklace. You can no longer believe in the stories if linearity, continuity is taken out. So stop yourself, completely, radically come to a full stop. Complete stop, as if your life depended on it. For 5 to 10 seconds. And in that full stop, recognize the isness, the me that remains, until that becomes home, until that becomes easeful and never ending, until awareness of the deeper self becomes more continuous than the thoughts about objects. Who are you without your descriptions? Without your reference points? Can you rest in that emptiness of meaning, that emptiness of story? Can you know yourself nakedly? Because again, if we cannot tolerate ourselves in the naked state, then how can we expect to have an authentic relationship with anything that arises, with the contents of experience? So break through the cycle, pierce the veil, penetrate, and stop it by thoughts repeating themselves, repeating themselves, repeating themselves. See how nonsensical it is to hope for something out of circumstances by always thinking and strategizing and trying to chase an experience. See the futility of it, the endlessness of it. This is not where well-being is found. Well-being is found in the inexhaustible source that you already are. Rest in the inexhaustible source. Try not to get anything from anyone. Can you today not try to get anything from anyone? And see how subtle the roots of manipulation lie within the mind. How deep these roots grow. Can you uproot those roots? Can you burn down those bushes? Can you roast the seeds in the mind? The seeds of manipulation, the seeds of I am lacking something now. Can you get rid of the notion or resolve the idea that you are lacking anything whatsoever right now? And if you can, a sense of wholeness will replace the sense of lack. And the sense of abundance and freedom and generosity will replace the sense of manipulation and needing something and being inauthentic. But you have to break the cycle. Who else do you think is going to do this? We all have to realize the source of our own unhappiness, of our suffering, and how we perpetuate that. We have to know how we are perpetuating it. And when we see that we are perpetuating it every moment of every day, senselessly, then we can get to see why we perpetuate it. What is the reason? What's the subconscious assumption for doing what we're doing, for chasing what we're chasing, for elaborating on what we're elaborating on, for describing what we're describing, for thinking in terms of subject and object all the time, and never resting in the original space of bliss, never knowing ourselves nakedly. You have to see the fallacy that constitutes that behavior. You have to see the false assumption, the false belief that fuels that way of operating. Who else will do this for you? Who else will stop your mind and have you realize the self? Only you can do that. But as with anything, you have to want it more than you want something else. If you're not having it, it means you're not wanting it. What is it that you want a little bit more? Be honest about it investigate how you're manipulating things to try to get that, including my time. And see why you want that more than, say, self-realization directly here now. Why do you want that more than the instant state change of going from a personal self to becoming the vision, or the personal self to becoming the self, or resting in source? What's preventing that state change from being continuous now, from being chosen as being most important to you now? Why do you perpetuate other cycles? You must believe something is lacking now. Without like beliefs, you have no fuel for inauthentic cycles and patterns and descriptions and strategies. You cannot manipulate when you're completely convinced of the infinite abundance that is here now. It's only when you believe you are unfulfilled and things are imperfect that you have fuel to manipulate and to strategize and to be inauthentic. The self is naked and free and innocent. It cannot be inauthentic. Be as the self is. Shine as God is. Have more faith in bliss than in matter, which all revolves around something is missing, and I have to strategize my way into safety, security, preservation, maintenance, expansion, accumulation. It's all based on lack. When we rest in bliss and circumstances even begin to disappear from view, because we're so absorbed in God, in bliss, doesn't mean we're not available. Things will flow through us. Action will come from that, sourcefully, naturally, intelligently, spontaneously, without premeditation. It's not behavior, it's flow. It's not behavior, it's intelligence in action, love in action, freedom in action. There's nobody inside your brain doing it. Source is operating. You become more like a mirror. This requires purification, emptiness, commitment, devotion to that which is pure and free of continuity. Source does not know continuity. It just is all the time. But it doesn't know linearity, continuity, and time. It is spontaneously, ever free, already here, already now. There's nothing in your mind that's not a projection of this ever free, ever fresh, ever awake, ever available, always now. Isness, love, bliss, space, awakeness, God, I, pure being, existence, bliss. There's nothing else for anything to be made out of. So already your problems are timelessly free, as they are. Again, this is the absolute approach. This is not the realization of the absolute, but it's a more absolute approach. It's a direct approach. That of resting and recognizing the original nature of all phenomena. That there cannot be anything else for something to be made out of. Therefore, anything that appears is already made of the bliss that you seek. That means your conflict is made of love, very directly. This can be experienced. Conflict is constituted by love. Suffering is made up out of lucidity, clarity, awareness. All appearances are light, which are the dynamic energy of awareness. Already, everything is rested in awareness. You just don't see it yet, perhaps. But when you stop the mind and you rest with things as they are, you will see that the appearances as they are already rested in timeless awareness. You don't have to move away from anything. You don't have to manipulate what arises. What arises is already the perfection that you seek. Just let it be. And die. Die to what is. And you will die to love. Do not try to control and judge and condemn and describe and compartmentalize and segment and strategize around these artificial compartments of description. Just let them be and face the fact that your problems too are God. For what else could there be but existence itself? For your problems to be created out of. There is no other substance but self anywhere in creation. Creation is founded by Source. Thus, then, anything you can experience, including the things you don't like, including the things you have come to believe are obstacles or problems to realization or happiness, these too are made of awareness, love, light. When you let them be exactly as they are and you stop the descriptive mind, the strategist, then you begin to see the nature of appearances rather than the description of appearances. Rather than judgments and labels and stories, you begin to rest in the original nature of all appearances. Awareness is inseparable from appearances. Form is inseparable from formlessness. Resting with form is the same as resting with formlessness. It's just resting, recognizing its nature to be that which cannot be given form or name. It simply is. Allow your heart to open and for the realization of God to shine forth in this instinctive way. Before mind, it's instinctive. It's an instinctive realization of the one creation constituting all experiences. Bliss, beingness, love, isness, space. Different qualities of the same isness. Like wetness and fluidity are qualities of water that you cannot separate from water. There is no water apart from fluidity. There is no water apart from wetness. There is no self apart from bliss, apart from being, love, isness, space. You are the space out of which objects are made. You see, there are not really any objects, because what else would they exist out of? They would need an independent nature, something other than the one infinite creation. But there only is the one infinite creation. Because it's infinite, it is all. It is one. We imagine our thoughts, our emotions, our problems, our obstacles, our life situations, our partners, our dogs, that they're coming from somewhere else. That they're made of flesh and bone. But they're not. They are formless awareness. They are the Buddha. Already, timelessly perfect. Just rest. Just die. And see what happens. Very little actually happens then. You just are and you continue to be, and that expands into more perfected, pristine, experiential state of absorption, of bliss. And that radiance will begin to dominate your actions and your strategies and your responses for you. In fact, that then becomes you. You become that. You become identified as source, not as phenomena. You become the field, not the objects, nor the egoic subject that derives its well-being and its sense of self from seeing objects and describing them. You see, without descriptions, if you stay without descriptions long enough, the sense of being the subject of objects disappears, and there's only the indescribable isness of love, bliss, awareness. This is God. Only God is. Only that which is, is. That which is not, is not. So don't worry about it. Only isness is. So go to isness and realize that somehow only that exists. The rest has no isness. It's just projection, empty projection. Illusion. Rest is God over and over again. Bliss will take away the perspective of matter. And somehow in that resting, you will know that everything is taken care of, that you previously cared about is taken care of. You don't have to worry. Time and space and events and phenomena and reflections, they are all governed to begin with by this infinite field of infinite intelligence anyway. So you may as well rest as this intelligence so you can grow in intelligence, can align yourself with this intelligence, and dance and be and breathe and is and even think in harmony with Tao, that original, harmonious nature of all being, the one infinite creator. All things appear inside of you. You are the source of all things. What could you possibly experience outside of yourself or without yourself? Self is the source of all phenomena. Rest is self, and your rest is everything, and the potential of everything. Let go of your attachments, if you can, if you want to. Are you ready for just bliss? Or do you need to derive bliss from having achieved a certain state or relationship or agreement, validation? Do you want that type of bliss, which is very, very short term, and it's got very, very long intermissions of struggle and chasing and fretting and worrying about not being good enough and trying so hard and destroying your system in the process and not loving yourself in the process, all for those couple of seconds every few years of success, fulfillment, and being loved. If you're lucky, a couple of seconds every month. If you've done really well for yourself, a couple of seconds a day. But still, you have to see, you would not pay to go see a movie, okay, that every 2 seconds it has an intermission of 24 hours. And then you can go and buy popcorn and destroy your body and wait wait for that moment where he can get back in cinemas, finally seated, full bucket of popcorn and Diet Pepsi. So excited, so in anticipation of those 2 seconds of perfection. And then the movie starts, and before you can even have one mouthful of popcorn, the next intermission of 24 hours begins. This is the state of humanity, and we call that the search for happiness. But given the proportions of actually experiencing happiness versus struggle, chase, and attempt, we might as well call it the game of believing that I'm lacking everything that I am. We're not playing the happiness game, we're playing the suffering game. And we willingly, when we are handed the keys to liberation, we willingly continue to disobey those instructions and continue to be addicted to the intermission and the chase for those 2 seconds of bliss. What are you awaiting? Are you awaiting a relationship where you'll get the perfect amount of validation for the constructs that aren't you to begin with, but you think are you, so that they can sustain and endure and be validated so you can be happy in the false self? Is that something you're hoping for down the line? That sounds like a pleasant future. Are you waiting for the next meal, the next pizza, perhaps? That's actually probably more worthwhile. At least you can buy a pizza however often you want to, and it'll do whatever the hell you want it to do. You can eat it, you can eye gaze with it. You can strip it of its cheese and just eat the gluten. Or feed the gluten to your dog and just eat the cheese. You can cut it up in tiny pieces, or you can try to fit the whole thing in your mouth at once. Either way, it won't complain. It will do exactly what you do it. What are you hoping for? What are you waiting for? Is it money? Are you waiting for money? And then what? You don't even know what the fuck to do with it when you have it. You have it and you run around like a maniac not knowing what to do with it. You're still not happy. Because you've externalized your source. You've externalized, given away all your power. Now I'm happy because now I perceive that I can do this with my body. But when has doing something with your body ever caused you lasting sourcefulness? Is any of the microphones, the handheld ones, on right now? If so, can you turn it off? No? Okay. Are you waiting for money? Who's waiting for money? Raise your hand. Nobody? Nobody has that construct running? I don't believe any of it. Who is waiting for that liberation that money will bring you? Right? It's a construct. We're absolutely conditioned with it. No, you may know better, but it doesn't mean the program isn't running anymore, right? Who's waiting for means, the means to be who they are, the means to do what they want to do, the means to go where they want to go to, right? And money is predominantly the symbol for most of us. I'd be really happy if, again, you guys can walk out of this retreat not wanting a single thing, not waiting for anything, not hoping for anything down the line, not a relationship, not companionship, not validation, not until you can begin to be a teacher yourself, not until you get the attention you want, not until you have the bank account that you want, not until the taxes disappear. Okay, you can keep that one. But I'd love for you to be able to walk out of this retreat wanting nothing except wanting taxes to disappear. But other than that, being completely happy. Of course, I'm kidding. No want. So put yourself into state, imagine yourself in a version where you have no want. What would that require? How could you fully stand in the power of no longer wanting anything? And imagine the space that becomes available instantly. What would your mind do if it's not busy strategizing for some secret subconscious hope based on another secret subconscious belief that something right now is not perfect? So you paint over the pristine innate perfection of life as it is with a lack belief, and you paint over that lack belief with a strategy. And now you're hoping for outcome. By the way, Anurag, I've just set the intention for the end of this retreat, which is I want them to walk out of this retreat not wanting anything anymore. Being in the state where you don't want anything. Imagine the space that is available, the sheer joy, bliss, freedom, creativity, and natural service to others that becomes readily available when you break free from the illusion that there's something missing right now that you have to strategize your way into, that you have to get out of a retreat to fulfill. If you can remove or see through this initial lack belief that something right now about you is not perfect, is missing, that you are in need of something, money, relationship, career, enlightenment. When you've wanted the least, you've been the most awake, have you not? You've been the most available to existence as it is, and the organic, spontaneous synchronicity with which the stream of intelligent events simply show up on the screen of your consciousness when you are clean and available and rested. Raise your hand if you've had a glimpse of this. And in that moment, did you have a lot of wants and hopes and strategies to get to those wants and hopes? Right? No. You were available. You were fulfilled. And do you remember in that state that you were in a state of being that was by its very nature naturally of service to the whole, the wholeness of creation? Do you remember that? Just a sense of overflowingness, of radiance, of availability, of non-planned, not premeditated, unbridled, spontaneous intelligence. Do you remember? You were just present. You were just available. Right there, fully here, because you weren't lost in concepts of future and outcome. The more fulfilled you are, whether it is through investigation, uprooting the lack ideas that motivate your current strategies, that dominate your mind, or whether it is through aligning to your calling while you are here, very powerfully aligning to that, or whether it is through directly resting as the unconditioned state immediately now. In any of these conditions, when done fully and authentically, you were completely present and available. There was no projection of hope. So imagine yourself 3 days from now, walking out of these doors, not even looking forward to your life. Now, if you're tempted to ask the question on the last day, how do I maintain this when I get home? You've missed the point. Do you get that? Can you be without wants? Look how joyful you become. What if it is your very own desires that destroy you every single day, that shred you apart? What if it is that trying so hard to get somewhere, rather than just being and being and being, and let that create life for you? It's being awake, being true, being available, being without trying to fulfill anything. What if that's the state change you are capable of making right now? But then the story ends, right? The retreat ends. And you paid for it. So you'd be surprised to see ridiculous things such as strategies that happen in the subconscious mind. Stories such as, well, okay, I can imagine that, but I'll wait until the end of the retreat because I still want to get what I came here for. So I don't want what I came here for yet because I paid for it and there's 3 more days left. So let me get a little bit more of what I want before I get what I want, before I choose what I really want. There's so many ridiculous strategies. Just see them. Let's just see these, okay, today. Let's see these strategies and let's laugh at them. Let's just have a lot of fun being really present, making fun of ourselves until we can no longer believe in these strategies. Let's just have fun with the intention that we walk out of this retreat not wanting anything. And actually, if we were really rigorous, that would translate, if I really were not to support those beliefs, that would translate as walking out of this retreat now or today. Well, now. Now, not wanting anything. Because you cannot achieve not wanting anything 2 days from now. Trust me, if you're not doing it now, you're not going to do it 2 days from now, because in between now and then, you'll have lost all the inspiration and guidance and incentive that right now you have much more readily available than 2 days from now after we do more talking. And what would change about the orientation of a group of people, a group of intelligent people, or at least people trying to become intelligent, coming together when they have no wants for personal self and no projections even for others, but just being available in the space that is? How would it change the nature of an event like this, a gathering? Then it's no longer an event, it's a gathering. We're gathering. Like, why? What would unfold? What would arise? How would it be different? Celebration. Have you noticed that in your relationships, whether it is to your children or your partner, or even your parents, that you're so much more naturally excited to be completely with them and engaged and giving of yourself when you have availability? One of the most stressful things in relationships is not having availability, right? And expecting things from each other. But from an energetic point of view, why do we not really enjoy the relationships we're with? It's usually because we're not available. We're occupied with wants, strategies to try to get somewhere. And there's nothing wrong with playing an exciting game and giving it all that you have and playing with the illusion of outcome and different probabilities and different players in the game. There's nothing wrong with playing that game, but if that game is still constituted on a state of lack, it will be polluted and it will be used for gratification of self, in the hopes of being able to satisfy self. Again, you would not go see a movie if every 2 seconds they would stop it for a 24-hour long intermission. You just would not pay to see that movie. So why are you investing in your life in that way? Why wait for those 2 seconds of perfection circumstantially when you can be sourceful, be in source consistently, free of that linear storyline, just being available. And then the intelligence will naturally operate through your blueprint, and it will purify it and heal it from the past distortions very rapidly. It will literally reshape the very structure of your etheric and physical body to match the original blueprint of what you came here to be, which you have distorted over time with other thoughts and lack ideas and conditioning. When you remove that conditioning, which is removed instantly when you remove the reason for wanting things, if you no longer want things, you're completely available. This massive purge and healing process begins instantly and rapidly. And this clearing happens. And God can come through, shine through in the unique way that you are designed to be here as part of the puzzle of humanity's ascension at this time. You don't even have to think about this. This just happens structurally, energetically, inside of the illusion of the body, the mind, the collective that you're a part of. So it would change the nature of gatherings. You wouldn't have to retreat from anything. You wouldn't have to retreat from your own mind. You would already be that freedom. And now that availability would come together for the only purpose just to be together and to play and create according to your natural intelligence. But that would be governed very naturally and automatically and spontaneously. You would not have to plan coming here. You would not have to plan what you're doing or what you're wanting. The availability would show up in a very spontaneous way. Again, if you're playing with your child and you're having an amazing day at the park, very simple but amazing day, it's because you're fully available. And there's a spontaneity that happens. You're not planning anything. You're just in the joy of being able to recognize God in your child and in yourself and in the freedom and in the sunshine and in the blades of grass that day provides you with. Source is invulnerable. Source is eternal. Source is timeless. So from a sourceful place, life is play. It's not a threat. From the point of view of being a person inside of a body needing to accomplish something to prove its worth, everything is a threat. Everything is an opportunity to manipulate and ensure something stays a certain way and other things don't. It's no way to live, and it's not authentic, it's not natural, it's not organic, and it definitely doesn't feel good because it's out of alignment with Source. Anything that's out of alignment with Source will feel horrible. When we tap into this eternity, whether through the direct means of recognizing the eternal directly, but we need to have developed the subtlety to be able to do that. But it is possible, and it's very direct. You just are and recognize the Source and the infinite nature of that, the eternal nature of that. It's direct recognition. Those were the core, the inner circles of the teachings. Hinduism, Buddhism, they all had this sort of secret inner core of the direct path, which was simply, you're already free. And that is the recognition. And there's no strategy into that. Again, the only other helpful approach is to investigate and to get to know through the process of contemplation and investigation. But when we touch in with this eternity, with the Source within, life shifts from being a serious threat to being a playful opportunity to just be, to just let that flow create and be spontaneous and spread love, joy, and light. Spread the message of the one infinite creator through your own unique blueprint, skill set, talents, passions, whatever arises. But you're not taking it seriously. You cannot be sourceful and identify with the person that you think you are at the same time. You just can't do that. You're either sourceful or you're identified with the person and motivated by the person you think you have to protect. That's why so many of us, even when our souls are knocking on our doors, on the back door of our hearts, louder and louder and louder, because time is taking away from a physical point of view. And we're not paying attention. And it's generating more and more catalysts so that we wake up, but we pay attention. It's knocking on the doors of our hearts with this desire, this passion to just be free, to be playful, to know that you're already one with Source. You're already home. Nothing could ever happen to you. Start living for the greater benefit of all. Be that free fountain of exuberant, abundant, sourceful spontaneity. But you're contradicting yourselves in a very painful way. You're contradicting your own energy. That which wants to come forth through you, you're contradicting it when you're living for the person that you think you are. From that point of view, everything is a threat. Someone playing music? Or is it outside? Oh, cool. The pain you have experienced all your life, to some extent, is that of going against the stream of your own Source. Disagreeing with the safety that's already here, the invulnerability of eternity. So when we realign to that eternity, we become that eternity, and we start we start being available from that eternity. And it changes the entire gestalt of the game of being incarnate in the illusion. Now the play appears as a play. Now you're no longer afraid to play, to be available. It's not even that you are playing the game. It's just that you're so all in, that you're so dropped in. You're so the inescapable, most grounded background of you, that from that stability, from that eternity, the play just explodes like an effortless, dynamic, intelligently guided fireworks show. Nobody can be said to be doing all that. Nobody is doing their calling. Nobody is doing life. Nobody is doing joyful experiences. If you look deeply into it, you'll see that it's also not a happening that happens from the outside, that you have no control over. It's neither. It is Source, its own dynamic energy, reflecting your alignment. And it's appearing, it's arising, it's being expressed inside yourself, inside your consciousness. And so the game, what gets projected onto the screen of your source, of your consciousness, changes according to your degree of alignment with the eternal truth of that sourcefulness versus the ideas that you have developed over time that now contradict that effortless flow that wants to happen. There's all these rockets ready to be set off, these fireworks, and they're all lit. The fuse is growing smaller and smaller, and you're trying to not have it explode. You're trying to control it. You're afraid. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe it's not this. But from an eternal place, you have no such fear. You're available, and the availability is what generates the experience of play, the experience of lightheartedness, the experience of joy, the experience of connection, deeper connection, the experience of benefit being shared. And it is all still made up. It is an illusion, but it's made up of that which is substantial, which is source, that which is real, that which is lasting. Everything that comes and goes is created of that which does not come and go. That's why it's a play. Again, you cannot have objects without the space in which they arise. Similarly, you cannot have experiences without the space of consciousness in which they appear, the power due to which they are able to be known and appear. Appearances are inseparable, indivisible from source, the source that is your isness. The very innermost core of I am is what projects these experiences. So when you align with that eternity, either by living sourcefully and or meditating directly on source, you thus then deepen your alignment, your surrender, your devotion to the Creator. And then the display changes of its own intelligence. And you become one with that intelligence more and more. Less and less will you be speaking through your brain. And more speaking just appears just like anything else appears. Speaking is just appearing. There's nobody doing the speaking anymore. You're so surrendered that source is talking and guiding and thinking and strategizing. All these things you thought you used to do, now you're a witness to them appearing, dancing in harmony with Tao, with a sourceful intelligence that cannot be done, can never be done, can never be contrived. You cannot think your way into intelligence. You can only be intelligently. And then intelligently, thoughts will help play the game that you are here to play. When you're most available, that's when your inspirations come through, right? When you believe that you are busy and occupied because you have wants, other wants than what is, then you procrastinate. If you have no other wants, you cannot procrastinate. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It's a made-up thing. Procrastination is an artificial construct. It's in relationship to another reference point that's also an artificial construct, which is based on another artificial construct. So if we drop into source, we give it all up. Just 2 to 5 seconds of total death. Just kill yourself psychologically. Come clean, come undone into source. Say unto source, I am open and available. Thy will be done. I do not know. I only know that I am, and I am available. Come clean in that way, Become pure in that way every single day. Devote yourself, surrender yourself to Source and its vision for an enlightened humanity. So then there's only two things left in your life of importance. The direct realization of Source, the embodiment of Source, and its vision for your most relevant portion of the illusion, which happens to be Earth, because that's currently your experience inside of the grand illusion of manifestation. And so, resting as Source and being 100% available to how that intelligence wants to show up, this is what I generally call the vision. You become the vision. The shepherd has become the vision. The mirror has become Source. Either way, it's amazing. If you devote yourself to the vision, you'll become the vision. You'll transcend humanity-ness. You'll transcend the idea of being a particular thing, being human. You're no longer human. You've become the vision. That's why you can do extraordinary things from this state. That's why you can live an extraordinary life. That's where courage comes from. Nobody is actually more courageous than anyone else. Some beings are just more clear on what's true. When you're clear on what's true, your behavior changes and fear disappears, or at least the relationship to the appearance of fear is changed. In essence, we're all as courageous as anyone else, structurally speaking, but we're just ignorant of the truth of who we are. The more ignorant we are of the truth of who we are, the more afraid we are, and the more that courage is dimmed. The more clear we are on who we are, the less fear we have, the less dimmed we are, and thus then our expressions will seem more courageous, but they're not. We're just more clear. Therefore, there is less fear. Does this make sense? In other words, if you, and this is the nature of compassion in a nutshell, if you had the exact same points of view, all the points of view that that other person has, you would behave and think and feel exactly as they do. No different. It's also the nature of equality. Seeing that actually we're all in this together, and it's a matter of clearing out all our false points of view and coming undone, coming clean, devoting ourselves to the Creator within everything. Clearing out our closet. One of the fastest ways is to just state that you are ready. To just make yourself available for God to pick you up, to shake you out, to shower you, to empty you out, to break you wide open, to destroy your illusions, your hopes, your dreams, and say, whatever it takes, whatever I need to die to, whatever dreams and hopes and false wants I need to let go of, thy will be done. And when we say that that's easier, even though it's harder than living as you currently have, is because things become singular instead of multiples. Instead of managing multiples, now you're not managing, you become singular in alignment. Alignment is singular. That's why it's simpler. That's why ultimately it's an easier choice. Imagine this, actually visualize this right now, because it's a very potent state change choice that you can make right now. Right now, again, not 2 days from now. Don't see if you can't just understand what I'm saying and be like, oh, that's cool, yes. Maybe if I practice it. See if you can actually get it now and shift it now. So imagine yourself as you have been living, and as most people have been living on planet Earth. Chaotic, random, scattered, monkey mind, unsatisfied, living for those 2 seconds per month of circumstantial perfection or success, and living the rest of the hours and days in this constant churning of wanting and wanting and wanting and needing and strategizing and wanting and trying. So take all your wants, feel briefly into all these secret hopes that you have. Again, partnership, money, becoming a teacher, even being your fullest expression, even enlightenment. Take all your dreams and hopes for future fulfillment and see how much energy has taken you every single hour of every single day to subconsciously be interacting with those games. See how much energy that takes from you. This is version A. Okay? See the insanity of humanity within yourself, operational within your own self. See the insanity of humanity operational within your own mind. Your mind, mind you, has been the product of humanity's insanity. It's not original, it's not native to your blueprint intention for being here. It's not native to your calling. It's additional crap. So you can either live believing the bullshit, believing that you're in need of this or that, therefore believing that what you want is this and this and this and this and this. What you prefer is that and this and such and so. And that therefore what you need to do is use all your time and energy and effort in unconscious and conscious ways, deliberate and non-deliberate ways, random and precise ways, to figure out how to get that thing that you want. Those things that you want that never end. And even when you have it, you're not fulfilled. That is the insanity of humanity in the form of your own consciousness, your own mind. That's version A. May seem like an easy way to live because it's what you're doing currently. Everything we're doing currently, we don't feel takes effort. But you're wrong. You're just not seeing clearly how much effort it takes to do what you currently do. How much energy it expends doing what you currently do, believing what you currently believe. Version B is the entity of willingness. The version of you which is willing to come undone, to be undone. For God to reach into your body and mind and to split you wide open like the sea that Moses split, and let all your shit come pouring out. Surrendering, releasing, relinquishing your right to maintain your desires. Relinquishing your right to have any opinion of anything, have any preference towards anything, have any desire towards anything. Give up your right to want things. It may seem hard from what you're currently attached to, but imagine how easy it would be to live free, liberated of your very own desires. Imagine the state that would naturally arise when you don't want anymore what you want. The struggle is over. When you open up to God, to the Creator, to Source, to Mother Earth, whatever symbol, whatever representation, whatever word clicks for you the most, resonates for you the most. You all know what I mean. The one Source. Imagine surrendering completely, laying all your hopes and fears and desires and preferences and safety concerns and wants and needs wide open on the table, and offer that entire table to the Creator. And say, I no longer care what happens to me. You can have me. I'm yours. I'm your agent. I'm your vessel. I'm done struggling to want what I want and fight for my wants and maintain my wants, which are all based on the belief that I lack what I lack, that I'm not what I am. that perfection is not innate in every moment. It's actually more tiring to continue and perpetuate version A than to just go through that one short, painful blow of separating from all your wants, ripping the Band-Aid out instantly. Shaving may seem more appealing than waxing, but we all know the benefits of waxing versus shaving. So let God wax you of your fears. Let God wax you of your wants. Become 100% available to be a shepherd now. Allow the vision to operate through you with no attachment or idea of how it should look, what the outcome should be, when or how it should happen. Relinquish all whens and all hows, and you'll be present and available to the joy that's already innate in every blade of grass, in every expression of a child, in every fear you've ever harbored. Joy is innate to all of existence. Bliss is the nature of phenomena. We're simply misconstruing it. We're misperceiving it because we think something right now needs to be done about the perfection of life as it is. But if we rest in this perfection and we come undone, we let the Creator operate through us, then our actions flow without premeditated purpose. That is intelligence. That is harmony. That is Tao. That's nature. That's natural. It's not natural to want what you want. It's absolutely given to you. Ideas given to you, generated the ones that you've identified with and then protected and defended, and empowerment usually is simply defense of the false self. Because we don't like how much other false selves get what they want, and we don't. And their false selves are suppressing our false desires, so we should stand up for our false desires and call it empowerment or equal rights or the gay parade or feminism or this or that, whatever new movement you can think of to protect and defend the false self and to make sure that other false selves don't get what they want too much because you envy them. That's empowerment. I feel powerful in my right to want what I want, which has been given to you by false ideas that have been hurting you for dozens of years. Every single minute of every single hour of every single day of every single week of every single month of every single year of every single decade of your life thus far, they've been hunting you. And you're defending that, and you call that empowerment. You might as well call it pain preservation. How pain preserved are you today? Well, really good. I stood up for my rights. I protested. Stop defending your wants. They're not important. You're not important. You're not even real. You're not a construct. Only Source is, you see. So let only Source be. Surrender to only Source is. Don't want anything and see what happens. Start having fun. Start interacting. Start being authentic with no need to defend or protect or validate or empower or prove or show anything to anyone for any reason. Source now plays. Source plays. Source either is or it plays. It has no other mode. Meditate and play. It is and it expresses. It knows itself, and it expresses what it knows, what it is. That's all it's ever done for trillions of years, or at least billions of years. This particular octave of creation, this particular octave of 7 densities of evolution, all it's ever done is express the one infinite potential, the one infinite creator, and everything it could ever possibly be, in all the ways that it could ever possibly be, and express itself. To express itself in these infinite ways. And through the process of expressing itself and manifesting the illusion of form, thus then in that reflection, in that learning, in that engagement, getting to know itself, awakening to itself. So now that you are, at least relatively speaking, awake to Source, now that you know how it works, it's your duty to surrender to it. It's your honor, it's your joy, and I promise you life becomes easy. Even when you've got more going on than you've ever had going on before, things that you cannot imagine you can manage simultaneously, yet will be done easily and with a sense of brightness and joy and luminosity to it. You'll become Superman and Superwoman with no need to protect or defend any of your wants. The irony is that when we surrender what we want, we're empowered. We think empowerment is defending what we want, standing up for what we want. Actually, it's giving up what you want. That is empowering. That requires faith. That requires trust. So, yep. Okay. No more wants, so no more instructions. But we could gather if we wanted to. We could gather here in half an hour. If you don't want, then I won't see you. If you do want, then I will see you. Unless I don't want, then you'll see each other and not me. But you won't want me to be here. If you really get this, even if I wouldn't show up for the rest of the retreat, you wouldn't want anything out of that to change. You see? You think it'd be empowering to maybe go talk to management and say, I want a refund because this is what I wanted and what I signed up for, and I'm stepping into my power by defending that and getting a refund. Well, you could do that too. But if I didn't show up, what would be truly empowering would be if you did not give a fuck. Where the play would maintain uninterrupted, where the meditation would be uninterrupted, where the beingness and the expressiveness, the freedom, the spontaneity, the intelligence that operates through you would be undiluted. Where it would not make a difference if I'm here or not. That's how you know you got it. That's how you know you've made the state change and you're not postponing the change. You've actually made it. You've actually decided that you are Source. You don't need it from anyone. You don't need it from any object. You don't need it from pleasure. You don't need it from safety. You are it. If you are it, you don't need it. You don't need to be safe to be Source. You can be absolutely unsafe, in process of being raped, tortured, killed, murdered, and forgotten for eternity. You would still be Source. It wouldn't change a damn thing about being Source. You don't need to be suffering at all to preserve your safety, to maintain security, to avoid pain, and chase after pleasure. It's not at all empowering. What's empowering is, like Krishnamurti said, my secret is I do not mind what happens. That's empowering. Be so free that you don't even care about your happiness level right now. Be that free. And I guarantee you, you'll be happy. It's just a natural expression of freedom, is happiness. But you can't accumulate it by caring about it. So if you get this, the change has been done. And you know you are Source even before you get to safety, before you reach the perfect partnership, before you get the money. And you'd still be it if you never get it. You are Source now. Not once you're safe, not once you're rich, not once you're happy, not once you're in a relationship. You are source now, not if I'm on stage. You are source if I'm on stage or not, whether I'm speaking or not. You are source. There's nothing in the world of appearances that can change that. There's nothing, period, that can change that in any world. If you get this, you get this. Get it? Cool. So I may or may not be here in about 25 minutes. Your enlightenment would take leaps and bounds if only you dissolved the sense of location being real. But you've projected it consistently all your life. So it's become a very firm contextual idea. But increase awareness of it, and it shall start to show its flaws. It will show itself as being an assumption. Be aware right now of whatever sense, assumption of location you have. What are you projecting? Are you projecting that you're here? If so, what is here based on? Is here not based on visual images? Without visual images, how could you feel like you're here? Where is here? Here's just a word, H-E-R-E. What is here? It's an assumption. You believe it's real, but you've never investigated it. Remove the here and stay with the I am. Or I am now. I am and I am over here are not the same. I am is more formless. Therefore, it can appear as being here now. But it doesn't make it true. It's just another projection in the infinite space that has no location. The true self. The true all-pervasive love, isness, awareness. God has no location. It projects location, but that doesn't make location have any real location, because it's a thought. You can go to a mountain in your dream at night. When you wake up, though, where was that mountain? It was inside of the mind. The mind has, where's the mind's location? It doesn't have a location. The mind projected location. Being fixated on form, identified with the vehicle moving through that location or moving about that landscape, you thought that you were inside of a location and the location was really there. But when you wake up, you realize all sense of location in space-time was created by mind, existed only as mind. When the mind stopped dreaming and woke up, it disappeared entirely. That means it was never there to begin with. It appeared to have reality. Same with your location now.
So the process of what you call as spiritual is not a psychological process. Your memory has nothing to do with it. It's a life process. It's an existential process. This can only happen if you allow yourself to be just a piece of life that you are. To do this, we do many things here and you might have seen people in the ashram walking around with those orange tags. You've seen the silence tags people are wearing? Just shut up. Because shutting your mouth is only half the job. To become silent is possible only when you do not think much of yourself. If you think something about yourself, if you think, I'm smart, how can you shut up? You tell me. If you think, I'm smart, how can you shut up? If you realize that you're actually stupid, you don't know anything in this existence, then, isn't it? Then you can simply look at life with great sense of wonder, without a thought appearing in your mind. If you think you're smart about everything, you got explanations and calculations and nonsense going on in your head. If you see one thing, 1,000 thoughts will go off, isn't it? You're not sitting here in the satsang totally silent. You're agreeing with me, disagreeing with me, making comments within yourself, making comments about the clothes that somebody is wearing next to you, appreciating it, depreciating it. Everything is happening. Am I wrong? Because the moment you think there is some value to what you think, then you can't stop it. No way to stop it. It'll just go on and on and on. When you see there is absolutely no life value to your thought process, it is just memory recycling itself. It is just the same old nonsense recycling itself. But if you're excited, if you're enamored by this recycle, if you think it's great, you cannot stop it. If you see the patterns of what it is, if you see the stupidity of what it is, then slowly you will distance yourself and it'll collapse. Because without attention, it cannot go on.
It's one thing to be personally self-realized, to know the Buddha state of mind that is always omnipresent for you, that cannot change, that cannot alter, that is your home base. But how much more epic of an achievement would it be if we, as a collective, can actually change the entire collective? Buddhists have called this bodhisattva. Those that are fit for disappearance, those that are fit for complete liberation, but they, in a sense, postpone or hold off for the sake of helping others cross that bridge as well. Because so many of us get lost in this personal seeking. But that personal realization, that personal empowerment is not the extent of who you are and why you came here. This is a time of brave souls. This is a time of courageous incarnations. You're meant to be here, to be of service, to be as loving and as wise as you can be. And this requires someone to be empty of self, with the inclusion of the empowerment of self. Shepherding consciousness. And yes, this requires personal training. This requires honest, personal introspection on a day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis. To have faith in your higher self, to have faith in the orchestration of what's occurring on planet Earth as we speak, to have faith in the timing of the circumstances as they manifest themselves in your personal life. If you can go back to that state of faith and empowerment, the more and more you will become a powerful creator, and you will then actually learn to harness the powers of the universe for the benefit of all. Because the bigger you become, the more powerful you become, the freer you become, the clearer you become, the emptier of a rigid personal self you become, the more you are able to share and give and inspire. And it's time to live up to that and to remember where we came from, to remember why we came here at this timing, in this particular expression that you chose to be. It's important to remember that and to be a shining light for the rest of humanity so that everyone can follow. It takes one candle to light 1,000 and it will never diminish its own light. One flame can light infinite flames without diminishing its own brightness. We do want a world that's a reflection of our hearts and where we're going. So, let's blend our personal power and our personal freedom with motion, with movement, with action, with caring about all of our civilization as one whole being. Let's see what we can solve. And you'd be surprised what you can solve, almost single-handedly, let alone with thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. So that's what this is all about.